Fox News alert for you. President Trump in another war of words with North Korea, taking to Twitter to send a strong warning to Kim Jong-un and his regime, saying, quote, just heard Foreign Minister of North Korea speaking at UN. If he echoes thoughts of Little Rocket Man, they won't be around much longer. In a show of force, U.S. bombers escorted by fighter jets flew close to North Korea's east coast over the weekend. Now, the regime's foreign minister is now firing back. This just in, saying that it reserves the right to shoot down U.S. bombers in international airspace after what they're calling President Trump's declaration of war. And with us now to discuss it is Andrew Peek. He's a former U.S. Army intelligence officer and a fellow at the Clements Center for National Security at the University of Texas. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Heather.
So I want to get you to respond to this latest information that's just in, this comment that was just made by North Korea's foreign minister. Let's pause and take a listen to it.
작전 타구에 올려놓여지게 될 것입니다.
In light of the declaration of war by Trump, all options will be on the operations table of the supreme leadership of the DPRK.
So basically, Andrew, what he's saying is that they believe that President Trump, his words are a declaration of war and that all options are on the table. What's your reaction?
Well, I think they feel incredibly isolated. You know, I think the president's rhetoric has backed them into a corner diplomatically with China, their main backer. I think genuinely they believe that a U.S. strike on their nuclear facilities is possible. And in previous administrations, I don't think they've thought that was a possibility. And that's good. That's good for us. That's good for the president. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting that they referenced bombers, right? That's what indicates to me that they think someone's coming after militarily their nuclear facilities. Because they could easily say we are going to target the U.S. and its allies. It's attacked South Korea in the past before. Yeah. Or it could say we're going to target U.S. warships, which are just offshore in the Sea of Japan.
And then obviously this follows some action over the weekend, from what I understand, that these the U.S. flew some bombers along with fighter escorts, and it was the farthest point north of the Korean demilitarized zone by any such American aircraft this century. What is the significance of that?
Well, I think in addition to the rhetoric you are hearing out of the White House and the tough talk from Nikki Haley and General McMaster and the National Security Council, they are rebuilding America's deterrence. You know, the logic of military deterrence is the other fellow steps more carefully if they think you are more likely to act. And thus going on these high-altitude bombing practices, these practice runs for approaches to North Korea, as far north as they've ever been before, I think is a genuine part of making the North think that military options are on the table.
And they were also not accompanied by South Korea or Japanese planes either. Let's take a look at this poll. People were asked, do you favor or oppose military action in North Korea if U.S. does not accomplish goals via economic or diplomatic efforts? And 58% of people polled, they are in favor. Do you think that they really understand what that means, and what does it mean?
Well, I think it means that people don't want business as usual with North Korea, that we've done an effective job of raising to the point where we don't want another kick the can down the road nuclear deal that will say, okay, here's a bunch of financial and economic rewards for you in exchange for no actual concessions. I think above all, it means Americans don't necessarily want war, but they trust the president to deal with this issue.
All right. Andrew Peek joining us with his insight. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Heather.